I beg to move that this House do now adjourn.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Henry Smith.
Mr Deputy Speaker, thank you for granting me this debate on the importance of aviation to UK trade and the future of our nation's economy more generally. Of course, I start by declaring an interest as the founder and current chair of the Future of Aviation All-Party Parliamentary Group. Mr Deputy Speaker, I believe aviation is a strategic enabler to the kind of export-led high-growth economy that honourable and right honourable members across this House want to see. Research being prepared by Manchester Airports Group and WPI Economics, which I've been given an advanced sight of, show not only the potential for the UK to become a services sector superpower, but it also demonstrates how, as an island trading nation, we are disproportionately reliant on aviation compared to similar economies. My argument to the House, Mr Deputy Speaker, therefore, is that we should recognise the UK aviation network, the third largest in the world, is a vital asset and a key component in the economy we are seeking to build further. So we need the right kind of supportive policy environment to help it flourish. This includes leaning into the benefits and opportunities on offer from decarbonising aviation for the sake of environmental protection, going faster and further than other countries precisely because of how much we have to gain economically from the sector, including the great British exporting businesses that rely on aviation for their own success. Mr Deputy Speaker, figures recently published by the Office of National Statistics show a 63% real terms growth in the export services in the 14 years to the end of 2023. For goods, UK air freight contribution across all sectors of the economy is over £87 billion. Against this backdrop, and given the UK is already the second largest exporter of services after the United States, respected think tanks such as the Resolution Foundation are saying that the path to transformative economic growth for the country lies in becoming a services sector superpower and striking up new services trade agreements with countries such as Singapore, Japan and Australia.
I'd be delighted to. The World Bank recently did a survey in which they looked at the future of world trade, and they said services is the area where trade is most likely to grow, and Britain is very well placed to take advantage of that, particularly with all the trade deals we're doing.
Well, I'm very grateful, Mr Deputy Speaker, for that intervention from my right honourable friend. He is absolutely right. This country, the United Kingdom, has a strong record of being a services economy, and we could go so much further still now that we have left the European Union and we are realising those trade deals, whether that be from the Trans-Pacific and other parts of the globe. Mr Deputy Speaker, the UK should be selling more high-value services in areas such as banking and architecture, for example, in which we have a competitive advantage to boost productivity and tax revenues and raise the trend rate of growth. In light of this, Manchester Airport Groups have commissioned WPI Economics to understand the export growth potential of key sectors such as tech, financial and professional services, in which we clearly, as my right honourable friend has already said, have great strengths. In addition, given the UK's status as an island trading nation and the distance to some of the key export markets we need to target, the research is exploring the importance of aviation and international connectivity to the growth and trade prospects of British businesses in these sectors. Through the research, which is being published later this month and will be announced at an event here in Parliament, I am pleased to share now a few key headlines with the House today. The sectors in the economy most reliant on air travel, from real estate to finance and insurance, create or induce some £1.5 trillion of gross added value or economic contribution for the United Kingdom. Key growth sectors of vital importance to the economy and reliant on air travel, such as financial services, creative industries and real estate, are projected to grow by 54%, 25% and 54% again, respectively, in the periods up to 2033. In 2023, the UK was ranked 4th out of 132 countries in the Global Innovation Index. And the research shows that innovation and international connectivity are positively correlated. If the UK wants to grow an innovation-based economy concentrated with knowledge-intensive industries, it must maintain and grow its direct connections with the outside world. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the UK ranks 4th globally on the Global Outgoing Knowledge Index. The global economy would lose almost 1% of GDP were the UK not to send business travellers abroad. The United Kingdom also now ranks 4th globally for the total value of exports, adding over 900 billion to the British economy and supporting hundreds of thousands of UK businesses. Having more direct flights from the UK regions to international destinations could help boost investment, trade, tourism and education opportunities as local businesses seek to leverage the additional connectivity at their disposal. In the north of England, for example, this could play a supportive role in the government's policy of levelling up. For London and South East England, Gatwick Airport's Northern Runway project would support more long-haul services, enabling increased volumes of cargo and services trade to and from key destinations such as North America, the Middle East and Asia. For London Heathrow, it accounts for over £200 billion in UK trade passing through as of 2022, delivering a positive trade balance of more than £300 billion. Mr. Deputy Speaker, businesses in these sectors have been interviewed and set out the role international connectivity plays and will continue to play across a range of key activities, securing investment, clinching deals, building, maintaining and inspecting global supply chains and promoting knowledge transfer. If we therefore accept that business travel and a healthy growing aviation sector is a precondition to the type of services-led economic growth experts say this country should be going after, then we need to be clear-eyed about the number one strategic challenge it faces, and that is becoming net zero in carbon emissions by 2050, as has been ambitiously set out by this government. Because the UK is disproportionately reliant on aviation to support growth, given its status as an island nation, we should lean into the economic benefits available from its decarbonisation, going further and faster than other countries. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the key technology to decarbonisation of aviation in the medium term is SAF, or Sustainable Aviation Fuels, and they can reduce the life cycle emissions by 70% compared to conventional jet fuel. And so the choice, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for this country is between importing SAF from other countries to decarbonise UK aviation and become net zero by 2050, or investing in our own domestic sector, which provides secure, homegrown supply of low-carbon jet fuel to build resilience into the economy and generate thousands of skilled jobs into the process. If we end up importing SAF, we will be at the mercy of volatile international energy markets, and in the event of global scarcity of supply, it will push up airfares, which in turn will push up the cost of doing business precisely for those companies identified in the research I referred to, companies which UK businesses need to be travelling and exporting more to grow our economy. It has to be said that last week the government very positively announced measures concerning SAF. Firstly, the enshrining of a sustainable aviation fuel mandate, which means by 2030, 10% of all jet fuel needs to come from low-carbon fuels. And secondly, in consulting on a revenue certainty mechanism, which could help incentivise and encourage the building of SAF plants and infrastructure here in the UK. Mr. Deputy Speaker, however, a wide package of policy support is needed to create the right environment for this industry to take off and the UK to become a global leader. For example, the Department of the Environment's waste hierarchy needs to be amended to secure domestic or black bin waste as a viable feedstock or input into making sustainable aviation fuels. Using household waste to make green jet fuel is not just important because of the way it protects and helps sustain a strategic enabler in aviation, but research from Transport Sustainability Experts ICF also shows us that by using such waste to make SAF, instead of its current use to incinerate to produce electricity, would help cut UK carbon emissions too. Indeed, the reduction in carbon emissions would be at least 5 times greater, not least because nearly half of all electricity already comes from renewable resources, again, thanks to the great strides that have been made over the last decade by this government. A cross-departmental plan is needed across Whitehall to recognise aviation's role in our make-up as an island trading nation and the type of economy we need to grow and to become even more competitive. Mr. Speaker, my suggestion to the Minister, if I may, is that the Department for Business and Trade has a critical role to play in this plan because of the sector's role in underpinning the success of services exports this country's future prosperity relies on. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the UK does not have to choose between growing our economy through international travel or travelling less and protecting our environment. By innovating and being global leaders in new sustainable aviation fuels technology, we can both increase our services and goods sectors and be at the forefront of new green technologies. We have some great British iconic brands that have already demonstrated this. Last November, I experienced myself the first 100% sustainable aviation fuel transatlantic flight when Virgin Atlantic Airlines, headquartered in my constituency, flew from London Heathrow to New York JFK, powered by Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines using sustainable aviation fuels. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I believe that we should be optimistic about our future economy and our environmental protection, with Britain a global leader in both. Thank you.
Robert Syms.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Could I pay tribute to the Honourable Member? He has been an extremely persistent advocate of the aerospace industry, of Gatwick, in all the years I've served with him in Parliament. Having ended, I'm sure if he sits down one day after he retires and he goes through his diary of all the meetings he had about aviation, his life will whiz past him because he has always been not only somebody that stands up for the industry, but thinks very carefully about where it needs to go if it's going to continue success and grow and the prosperity that our country needs. I agree with him. Having gone through COVID, many of us did wonder whether the aviation industry would bounce back as quickly as it had. And I noticed Heathrow the other day saying that it was busier than it's ever been. And last time I went to Gatwick, I always got the same impression that it really is back on 4 cylinders now. And we are really very good at aviation. I think it's probably one of the legacies of the Second World War, when a large amount of our GDP went into fighters and bombers and technology, that post-war we've always punched above our weight in aviation. I was surprised the other day, I saw some figures from the Treasury that said that half of all the airliners sold in the average year across the world have wings made in Wales, because of course Airbus have half the world market. And they're very good wings, and they provide some very good jobs. And we still have Rolls-Royce punching above its weight, producing innovative engines, many of whom are trying to run on new fuels, that I think means that they're going to be major players in future years. I don't think we're ever going to get to having a hub airport in the same way that others do. I have one observation about for the business department. It's that some of the express railways to our airports go very, very slowly. And I think perhaps more investment in the links between central London and the airports would help the sector substantially. But there is a great opportunity there. We've got some really good airports circling around London. We have some very good regional airports. I mean, the importance of Manchester and others. We have Bournemouth Airport, Herne, in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole. They all generate lots of jobs. They all generate lots of opportunities. And there's a world out there of great competition. There are many other countries putting in runways, in terminals. They see the advantages of investing in aviation, and we have to keep up with them and continue to punch above our weight. So thank you for what you've done for aviation, and I look forward to hearing what the Minister is going to say in response.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to begin by thanking my honourable friend for introducing this debate and for his work establishing and leading the all-party parliamentary group for the future of aviation. I was glad to hear him refer to the Manchester Airports Group WPI report. They've done some very important research and I wish them well and I wish him well for their launch. Mr Deputy Speaker, my honourable friend gave an excellent speech and he is right on so many counts. The air transport sector is critical to the UK's success as a trading nation. Its speed and efficiency gives our exporters the edge and connects this country to the world, enabling the face-to-face meetings that are the lifeblood of our world-leading services sector, which my honourable friend, the member for Poole, rightly intervened to highlight. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, I entirely agree that the government must keep striving to ensure this vital sector thrives and continues to act as an enabler of global trade. Mr Deputy Speaker, as my honourable friend points out, the world is changing fast. To succeed tomorrow, the UK's aviation industry needs the right fundamentals in place today. That is why my colleagues at the Department for Transport have developed Flight Path to the Future. This is the government's 10-point plan to ensure the UK continues to develop aviation as part of our critical national infrastructure. It is our blueprint to make sure we have the skills, the technology and the infrastructure to deliver for aviation for the next 10 years. It ensures that the UK maximises the benefits of aviation, delivering economic growth, increased trade and improved services for business and passengers. Mr Deputy Speaker, I also want to highlight the fact that aerospace as a major export is in its own right integral to the UK's achievements as a trading nation, as my honourable friend rightly said. It adds some 11 billion a year to our economy and employs over 100,000 people across the country. Factories in North Wales, Bristol, Derby, Prestwick and Belfast deliver critical components for the world's airliners and air freighters. Almost every aircraft that members of this House, Mr Deputy Speaker, have flown on board rely on British engineering. And I always find it inspiring that roughly half the wings of all new commercial airliners are made in the UK and 1/3 of global aircraft seats are made in Northern Ireland. Here again, we're striving to make sure we keep our leading edge and seize the advantages of a jet zero future, which my honourable friend so rightly highlights. That is why the government and industry together have created the Aerospace Technology Institute, the ATI, and the ATI programme, delivering long-term and predictable funding that allows industry-led mid-stage R&D projects to get off the ground. The ATI's objective is simple: growing the UK's share of the global aerospace market while reducing aviation emissions. The results have been nothing short of transformative. Consequently, the UK's aerospace industry productivity has soared. Thanks to ATI co-investment alongside industry, the UK is leading the Airbus Wing of Tomorrow programme, exploring radical new approaches to aircraft wing manufacture and design. And we're also powering ahead in the field of engine manufacture, with the world's most efficient jet engine, the Rolls-Royce Ultrafan, on the horizon. The ATI has supported over 400 R&D projects worth £3.6 billion since it was founded, helping some incredible innovations developed by industry disruptors to take flight and attract foreign investors to these shores, including Boeing and Safran. Given these achievements, it is only right that we continue to strengthen the UK's position in the global aerospace manufacturing sector, and in the government's most recent autumn statement, we extended the ATI programme budget for a further 5 years. Mr Deputy Speaker, in addition, as my honourable friend highlighted, our Jet Zero strategy sets out our plan for achieving net zero aviation by 2050. It includes the new aircraft technologies developed in partnership by industry and the ATI programme. It is clear that there's a bright future ahead. Last year we got a glimpse of this promise. As my honourable friend mentioned, he got more than a glimpse when the first net zero flight crossed the Atlantic, powered by Rolls-Royce engines using 100% sustainable aviation fuel. Mr Deputy Speaker, next I want to turn to airports, the beating heart of the UK's trading economy. Already the UK, and therefore its businesses, boast the third largest aviation network in the world after the USA and China. As my honourable friend knows, Gatwick continues to demonstrate incredible innovation with its existing assets, with the busiest and most efficient single runway in the world. I know that there have been various proposals over the years to construct another runway at Gatwick, and I understand that DfT ministers will be looking carefully at the latest proposal. Mr Deputy Speaker, all our airports are supported by world-leading supply chains, which are at the forefront of digital innovations and sustainable technologies when it comes to developing airports ready for the future. For example, NATS, the UK's air navigation services provider, leads the way in providing next-generation solutions to enhance airport capacity and performance. So I'd like to assure my honourable friend that my department fully recognises the importance of airports in underpinning the connectivity which is so vital to trade. We will continue to work closely with other departments, particularly the Department for Transport and airport stakeholders, to encourage investment into the sector while supporting our supply chain to export their expertise to the world. I also wish to commend to the House, Mr Deputy Speaker, our recent Future of Flight Action Plan, which provides the strategic plan to develop the economic, environmental and social benefits that could be unlocked by exciting technologies such as drones and electrical vertical take-off and landing aircraft. Finally, in conclusion, Mr Deputy Speaker, I want to thank my honourable friend again for his work as a passionate advocate for the aviation sector. I want to reiterate my thanks to him for providing this opportunity to celebrate the achievements of aerospace and of aviation in the UK, and to discuss how this government can even better support the sector and our exporters. Mr Deputy Speaker, the government has a clear vision for the future of aviation in the UK. We see it as a critical enabler of trade long into the future, allowing communities across the country to benefit from the prosperity it brings, from Crawley to Havant, from Poole to Uxbridge via the Hamble Valley, and across the entire United Kingdom. The future for aviation is very bright, and I want to thank my honourable friend for his leadership in this sector.
The question is that this House do stand adjourned. Does many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Contrary, no? The ayes have it. Order, order.
Proceeding has ended. The proceeding has ended. The proceeding has ended. The proceeding has ended. The proceeding has ended.